Welcome to the Video Game Dads podcast. I'm your host, Adam. To my right,
it's Michael.
And across from me is
Shane.
We're three guys in a basement who talk fatherhood, gaming, and everything in between. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/videogamedads. You can email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com. And you can find us on Instagram and the Twitters at videogamedads.
Yes.
All right. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff we're going to talk about. This is episode 27. 27,
27.
Guys.
Woo!
This is the episode where we pull out the pyrotechnics.
Boom.
And we have a lot of things we're going to talk about in this episode. So we got our video game book club picks.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about those. I have a new picks as well. I'm going to read a few listener emails along with those.
Yep.
We're also going to have a little segment where we talk about goofy names in video games.
Yeah. That one sounds fun.
Video games with unfortunate names.
Yep.
Maybe is a better thing to term that as. I just had a recent trip to Disney, so we're going to talk about a little bit about that as well. And, some of our regular shenanigans like our handheld holla and additional things to follow. And then also it's been a pretty big couple of weeks for pickups, so we'll talk about some of that stuff toward the end. But let's move on to our video game book club.
Is it me?
Is it you?
Who knows?
Guess who?
Can you guess who? It's a mystery. Did your person wear a hat?
No.
You're history.
But I'm still here.
Can you guess who? Does your person have a beard? Uh-huh.
You're out of here.
Can you guess who? Do you have a clue? Does your person wear glasses?
Yes, I'm gone.
Me too.
Can you guess who? Not you or you. You're Sam. You win. Let's play again.
Can you guess who?
Guess who? Game cards do not actually talk.
All right, and the Video Game Book Club is brought to you by Guess Who?
Guess who?
Who would have thought that the little guys on the cards don't actually talk?
Yeah,
Mom, don't be bringing this back to Walmart. The dudes on
False advertising right
It
there.
is.
Yeah, very false advertising.
Yeah, I can see the class action suit already.
That's why I have to let you know.
So the first game we're going to talk about is a little NES gem called Kickle Cubicle.
As I call it, Kickle Cubicle.
So Kickle is spelled like a kick with an LE on the end.
Yeah.
And cubicle is spelled like the thing that some of you might work in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like the depressing, every depressing office meme on earth has a cubicle inside of it. And so why wouldn't a game about cubicles be awesome, right?
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate name, I think, but
Yes.
it's actually a really good game. I pulled up a few stats on this that we usually talk about. So this was developed and published by IREM, IREM, and I feel like IREM
They make Metal Storm, I believe, on NES.
Yep,
Correct.
that's what I was about to say. Yeah,
that's
they
the
made
main
a
one I
storm.
know.
Yep.
Yep, they also made R-Type.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't realize that.
They make a lot of these like arcadey games, and they're one of these companies like nobody ever talks about, but like all of the IREM games for the most part,
Pretty good.
are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And actually, there's an arcade game if you can get it on MAME or whatever that IREM made, and it's called Ninja Baseball Batman.
I've heard about this.
It's
Yeah.
legitimately
What?
super good. You heard me. I said it. Wait for your brain to.
Was this
explode.
actually a real arcade?
You can't say the
Really?
title of this twice in a row because it's too much.
Yeah.
Okay. It's called Ninja
Yeah.
Baseball Batman.
Mine's just blown right
Yeah.
there.
No, that's,
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So there's an AVGN episode on YouTube that you can watch about Ninja Baseball Batman.
I think that's where I saw it.
But but it's a game that stars characters who happen to be ninjas
Okay.
and play baseball and carry bats.
That's awesome.
In no way, shape, or form is it related to the DC comic character, except that they're riding the coattails.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's a legit like really good game. Like if you like Turtles in Time or Streets of Rage,
Yeah,
or
any kind of beat 'em up,
Yeah,
yeah.
your standard. It's a really good game though. Like it's a solid, really good arcade game. And I actually tried to read about it after I watched that AVGN episode, and they only released supposedly like 50 units of the arcade in the United
really?
States. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't think any of them still exist.
They're
Really?
probably all converted.
Yep.
Yeah, they probably all got turned into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Black spray paint can, and then just slap a sticker over the top of that bad boy.
Yeah, but that's IREM, man. So IREM made a lot of like the old spaceship shooters. Several of those are IREM games, but a lot of the old arcade games that you can think of are IREM games.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think. Image Fight, I think, is an IRIM game too on NES.
Yep, you're right.
But none of the games are like high print run games. They're all like they're all a little bit under the radar.
I never see any.
Yeah,
of it,
but if it has an IRIM label, R-I or
I-R-E-M,
it's a pretty good bet that it's a decent game. So that's just my little pro tip.
Yep.
Pro
tip.
Yeah, there you go for IRIM.
Yeah. I imagine they didn't do too much marketing.
Yeah,
I don't even
really see them in the magazines or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of those games
they
on
didn't.
TV or anything like that. So.
But the game itself was released in 1990. It goes for about $20 loose. It goes for $35 or so complete in box.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I figured that'd be about 75 in box or something. Because
Well,
you just never find. I never even seen it out in the wild.
According to price charting, depending on how many complete in box copies are out there, and that's, and that it's tracking in that data, sometimes those prices can fluctuate pretty wildly. Because the recent ones that sold might have been like, under somebody's bed, beat to death, dog peed on.
Or it's actually a loose copy under a complete copy that they got mixed up.
Seems like when I've seen it recently, it's been 20-ish for a loose cart. But it's one of those games that's not, I wouldn't call it common, but I also wouldn't call it uncommon. It's kind of one of these, you see it every now and then.
Semi-quasi-edist, right in the middle. Yep.
Yeah, but it's not like Top Gun or Tiger Heli or a Mario game or something like that where there was just like a gazillion of them. Because you can't buy a pile of NES games without finding.
Yeah, you're going to be
Silent
finding
Service.
Yeah,
Silent Service
or Top Gun or something.
Yeah,
like
Top
that.
Gun. Yep.
But
This is loaded.
Anywho, Shane, what did you think about this game?
I really liked it. It was really fun. I played on it for a little bit, but I came over here and played it, and it was really cool. Like, I love the character. The character's really cutesy and stuff, and like it almost plays like a Bubble Bobble in a way. You spit like some ice or. Is it like ice, I guess, and make some ice, and then you kick them in the water, and then you try to build a bridge to get to what you're going to grab. It changes the random things that you're going to grab. And then at the end of the stage, it sort of like circles around you. I don't know. It's just really like cutesy and really awesome. I don't know. The music, I don't think it ever really changed, but it has a nice little jingle that I don't mind the whole time. It was really just cool.
Yeah, which in that way it's very much like Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, because Bubble Bobble is the same way. Where
it just has like a short loop that just goes over and over again, but for some reason it never gets annoying.
Yeah.
But it's got good tight controls and looks pretty good. What'd you think about it, Michael?
I enjoyed it, and I'm not typically a huge. It's not really. It's kind of a puzzle game.
Yeah, semi-quasi puzzle.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of almost in that Bomberman kind of feel almost too.
That's what I really felt like.
Yeah, that's
it's
another
like a
thing.
cross between Bubble Bobble and Bomberman. It almost feels like one of the old Taito arcade games, which Bubble Bobble is.
Yeah, because you don't really want to rush too much, because if you rush and try to get in front of them like really quick, the bad guys will come to you and like hit you and you'll die. So it's like you sort of want to lay back a little bit, get it in front of them a little bit, and then hit them with your ice and then kick them. Yeah, it's really cool.
And a little bit later, you can use more of this thing where you can kind of make like posts come out and block the bad guys.
The earlier stages, you don't really need to use that, but later on stages, you start using that. Yep.
Exactly. So that kind of adds another little bit more depth.
Yeah, a little bit more depth.
And kind of strategy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, something gets lost in translation, I suppose. But so basically, in every level, there are things to get. So it's kind of a collectathon, or you're trying to build a score, I suppose.
Yeah, I believe it's like lollipops give you points.
Yeah, and so there's ice cream bars and lollipops.
And then at the end, you kind of want to get these, like, almost looks like Santa Claus bags. Christmas bags.
Yeah,
or whatever.
You
want to get 3 of them.
Yeah, so there's like 3 of those in every stage. And so you freeze an enemy, and then you kick an enemy into water, basically. And then they build onto the iceberg that you're standing on. So
then you can get to them.
Yeah, so you build a bridge. But as you're doing so, there are little enemies coming after you, trying to attack you,
and they keep coming.
And everything always respawns. Everything's always respawning.
Never stops.
But as soon as you get those 3 items, then you basically go on to the next level.
Yeah.
But one thing I thought was really interesting is after you defeat an enemy, or after you defeat a stage, rather. Like things will circle around. It plays like this little jingle, like you won music, and then it's like sometimes it's grapes. Sometimes it's like
carrots.
Bananas.
There's carrots on one.
I think it was eggplants once. There were ears of corn flying around. So apparently,
somebody liked acid, I guess.
They're very pro produce.
Yes.
Over in Japan, I feel like.
Very healthy.
Yeah, very healthy.
Yeah, it's a very healthy game.
Yeah, they live a lot longer over there, so I don't know.
Yeah, the food pyramid was very happy.
Yeah, this is an American game. There have been burgers flying around, pizza flying around.
Yeah, no, all the foods were healthy. Every one of them. Yeah.
That's why Burger Time was more popular over there.
But it controls really well. And after you kind of get the way, it's a grid-based system, just like Bomberman. So you move around in, up and down, left and right, so sort of XY axis kind of thing. But in tiles.
An overhead view.
Yeah, an overhead view. But after you kind of figure out the pattern of the enemies, where they're going to walk and all that sort of thing, everything starts to sort of make sense to you.
Yeah.
And one thing that I thought was kind of cool, obviously I didn't play all the way till the end of it, and I have no idea how many stages there are in the game. There's a lot.
I imagine there's probably a lot.
Yeah, I think there's roughly like 15 per world, and I think there's like 5 different worlds, so whatever that is. That
was sort of cool too. That had like an overworld. Like as soon as you beat the stage, it sort of showed like how far you had to go and stuff. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, and after you get through the first world, basically there's like a monster that has a princess, and then a spoiler alert. But but you defeat the monster, and then the princess says, "Oh, there's 4 other princesses and 4 other worlds," and
like every other NES game.
King
Koopa stole the princess.
It very much is the plot of Mario. I feel like, except that instead of a plumber going after a princess, you're a little snow dude going after human princesses for whatever reason. But it controls really well. It's got a ton of charm to it. I really wasn't expecting much of this game.
I didn't either.
Yeah, but I really, really like this game.
I did too. I really like that they didn't have it so you would like fall off the stage, because I think that would have really sucked, is like if you went too far down and you fall into the water, and it didn't let you do that. I appreciated that. So.
Yeah. If you like the kind of Bomberman, kind of Bubble Bobble type games, I would definitely check it out.
Almost like a balloon fight kind of feel, like you're trying to get a really high score too. Like you're going to, you're probably going to beat this game, but you want to get as much stuff as you can too to like.
Do you go for high scores in games? See,
I just try to beat it.
I try to get past the levels.
That's basically what I do.
It's kind of my like non-completionist attitude. I'm just like happy to get to the end of the level.
Me too.
But there's people who like want to get every single popsicle, want to collect.
I fall into that trap, and then I start getting bored with it. So I've sort of learned just to try to truck through it really quick instead, and then if I really enjoy it, like I'll go for the high score.
Go back and go. I'll do that on some of my favorites.
Yeah. But so the downside of this game, as opposed to Bubble Bobble, and Bubble Bobble just as a reference point, Bubble Bobble is one of my favorite NES games, because I had a friend when I was younger, and we played the dog out of that game. We played it all the time. And Bubble Bobble, it allows you to continue at every stage, and so you can play it as many times as you want. I think there's 100 levels, and there's a boss level, or there's 99 levels in a boss level, or something like that. This level is very much the same thing. It gives you 3 lives, like Bubble Bobble, and if you die, it says game over, but then it will let you immediately recontinue on the level that you were on. And when you do quit, again, like Bubble Bobble, it will give you a password that will take you right back to the area where you finished the game at. So, for a game of its vintage and that sort of thing, I thought it was really nice and kind of cool that, it allows you to kind of recontinue over and over again to sort of reach the end of the game. Because a lot of the games that were sort of like this were just so punishingly
hard.
Yeah, they were just so hard that like you would never see the back half of the game. But this is a lengthy game, and it's a game that you can feel like you're making some progress in.
Exactly.
And the levels actually do...
change a bit.
Well, they ramp up in difficulty, and they also introduce new little gimmicks as it goes on.
One was the what was it? It shoots it back at you like a spring. Like you had to kick it to it and then kick back at you, and you had to dodge out of the way.
Yeah, so early on in the game, it springs. And then there's different characters that are trying to kill you, and sometimes before it really makes you interact with it, it'll just like when it introduces the bomb, the level where it introduces the bomb, you don't actually have to interact with the bomb at all. It just shows the bomb exploding, so that later on you're like, oh, that's a bomb, and I know it's going to explode a certain way. So you can tell that the people who made the game actually put some effort into it. Thought about the progression of the game, and the difficulty curve ramps up in a very appropriate way, I think. But very good game. I very much enjoyed this game, and think that it's a it's one of those NES games that I really haven't ever spent any time on.
Yeah.
Even though I've owned it probably for a couple of years now.
I really want to put this in my collection, and
Yeah.
I'll pay every bit of $20 if I can find it for 20 loose, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll pay $20 loose for this game. I highly suggest it to anybody.
Yeah, yeah, and you will see it, from time to time, out and about. I've seen, several copies.
I've never
of it,
even seen it before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I typically, I think now, it is going for like 15 to 20, but I think I got mine for 10 quite a bit back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't see it too often.
Too
Maybe
often,
2 or 3
yeah.
times I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Our next game was a dad pick, and it was Michael's pick,
Yep.
Y'all pick.
and that was
Snowboard Kids 2.
Snowboard Kids 2, the follow-up, the much-awaited sequel to Snowboard Kids. After Snowboard Kids 1 came out, they were like, "There's got to be more of these."
Yeah. Actually, let me tell you, surprisingly, Snowboard Kids 1 was actually a player's choice in Europe.
Yeah, that's
in the
about to
PAL.
say that. Yeah, I heard about that.
It
Yep.
was actually that popular, and kind of a weird fact, they never released Snowboard Kids 2 in Europe, only in Australia. That's the only reason.
Yep.
So it actually goes for a lot of money, the PAL version.
Yep.
It's kind of weird, just a interesting fact.
Huh.
But I have no idea how you could release a player's choice and have it be like a top 10. This was like, I think it was like the 8th best-selling game in the UK.
Yep.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Something interesting about Kickle Cubicle as well, since we're kind of talking about PAL stuff, is the PAL games actually half as much as the NTSC version.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you get a PAL version, it's cheaper.
Okay.
Another pro tip.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
But,
Caught me off guard there.
But Snowboard Kids 2, and the other thing to make note of on Snowboard Kids 2, I'll kind of go over the facts on it. So it's an Atlas release, or is published by Atlas. And the thing that you should know about Atlas, and Atlas is ATLUS for those that don't know. If it says Atlas on the logo, it's probably a relatively low print run.
Yeah.
Not all Atlas games are hard to come by, but most are. For whatever reason,
Yeah.
Atlas, just historically as a company, always does relatively
This
low
is what you're
print
going to
runs.
get
They
right
don't-
from the beginning.
Yeah.
They don't like overstock. They don't like doing a lot of reprints. They will make a game, maybe print it once,
Yep.
and
And sometimes they reprint, but
yeah,
not
sometimes
not
they do.
often.
But there are games that don't really only have like one small
Yep.
printing at the very beginning,
Yep.
and none additional. So if you see an Atlas logo, chances are it's like I said, this is not
Harder
a
to find.
Yeah, it's not a universally true thing because there are some very common Atlas games.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Atlas games are relatively rare or hard to come by. So that kind of tells you right there that that you're not going to see this one in every pile of.
When you were younger, did you guys
N64
know
games.
anyone who played this game?
No, I wasn't a
hadn't.
huge. Did you play it as a kid?
No, I had 1080 as a kid.
Okay.
So which was
And
much
that's
more
what I
popular. Which was
played.
much
Yeah.
more popular.
And that's
in
why
the
I
United
stayed
States.
away from this game, because I thought it was just going to be a kidsy 1080, and it totally caught me by surprise because this is the first time I ever played this game. Because I always wonders, like, why does everybody always talk about this? It's so good. I never watched any play videos of it or anything, and when I played it, I was like, I completely understand now.
It goes a different route than 1080.
Yep.
1080 goes for the more
realistic, and this
yeah.
is more like a cross between like a Mario Kart / like racing. I
Well,
don't know.
this one's an E for everyone kind
Yeah.
of game. It's a all comers welcome. You're going to have a decent time with it.
Yes.
Kids to adults.
Yep.
Low.
It's better for multiplayer than 1080 for sure. Though.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, for
absolutely.
sure. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually just looking at the prices here. On the so for a loose card, it goes for about $45-$50.
It's dropped a little bit. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
and as you were saying, the PAL version it goes for about $165.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I didn't know the price, but I knew
Yeah.
it was kind of saw
I remember
after.
Snowboard Kids at one time was up to like 80 to 90 range.
Yeah,
2
N64
or
has
3 years
actually
back.
gone down a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like just in the last year or two.
Yep.
Not tremendously so, but I mean, you couldn't get a Conquerors for underneath, like $150 a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
and now
but
you can get them for 70 or 80.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And same thing with Harvest Moon 64.
Yeah, that's been really
know,
dropping,
We're gonna
tanking
see what
too.
happens when this N64, if they release the mini or
the
whatever.
Mini N64. Yeah,
they might
I
draw
could see.
more
I
interest.
could see. I could see it even dropping even more. Like
That's
the prices.
possible.
Like
it's possible.
unless you got original boxes, then I think it'll stay. A good price. I mean, your stuff will stay a good price, but loose
Hopefully.
copies, I wouldn't. be really too psyched up about collecting N64 right now
well,
for that part.
you're never going to have too many copies of Superman 64.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You know, I knew how bad it was actually when I first came out, but some friends of mine and myself, we decided like, hey, let's go rent the Superman 64 or whatever down in Blockbuster. Oh yeah, it lives up to the hype.
It lives up to every bit of it. Oh man,
it's a. I don't know that it's the worst game ever made. I mean, you know, some people say that it's the worst game ever made, but yeah, it's solid, not good.
Yeah.
That one where you have to like drive an 18-wheel truck or whatever, and that's all you do.
18-wheel trucker, mother trucker, or something like that. That one.
There's no point in that.
And it's got this multiplayer in it where you're just like, you know, split screen, you know, like all the other multiplayer games on N64 back then, but you're just like 4 dudes just flying around that can't do anything.
You're not really doing anything. Yeah, it's going like circle hoops.
It's like the weirdest thing. You're just like, okay, we're all flying around in a common space. Oh, I think I saw you, you know, and like that's the game.
Yeah.
So you didn't play this either, Adam, as a kid? Though,
I did not. I do remember seeing it in like Nintendo Power or whatever, and I remember seeing it maybe at a store or something. But yeah, again, it was one of those games where I was like, that doesn't look interesting at all. So just completely overlooked it. But it actually turns out that it's a pretty good game.
I'm going to give it a weird reference. Like it felt very like blocky and tight, sort of like how the wrestling games on N64 felt, just really tight controllers. It wasn't real loosey-goosey, it's real tight, and I really like that. Like, just really, like, when you move it, you feel like you're really chugging and moving. I don't know, it just feels really good. It's just a real nice mechanics and stuff.
Yeah, and one thing, because it's so easy to compare it to, like, a game like Mario Kart, I think the single player is so much better on this game than Mario Kart. Mario Kart just has the regular time trials, essentially.
This one has boss battles.
It has boss battles. Yes. Has probably I think 5 different styles. You can go like a trick attack type thing. Yep. There's a thing like where you race to the bottom to get to school on time. Yep. It has obviously like the multiplayer, and then just kind of the regular single player where you do unlock kind of like Mario Kart. You just play different courses and unlock them.
Yeah.
And the levels are interesting too, because rather than it being like laps, that actually break the levels into segments.
It up. And it's really cool that you go sliding into the lift.
The ski lift.
Ski lift, and you have to sort of aim your way into it. Like, you can really mess yourself up and go too far to the left, and it's over on the right, and you sort of slow down.
So, of course, we'll have like 3 legs, and so you do the first, and then it's a rush to the ski lift to get on the ski lift first.
That's really
and
neat.
Then get on
Sometimes it's like a turtle that will bring you up, like in the sea level.
And,
you
know, but it's just a little bit different. It does things just a little bit different. And of course, we keep referencing Mario Kart, and the reason that we're doing that is because you
could shoot projectiles. You get items, and you can shoot them at people.
Power ups. You get offensive weapons to screw up people.
You actually get like 2 sets, almost like in Double Dash. And that's kind of nice, where you can shoot them forward and backwards, and they give you like bombs and essentially similar things like red shells, essentially in Mario Kart.
They have a ghost, and they have all sorts of stuff.
The red shell is basically, I kind of like it. It's a hand that shoots out, and then it like pushes the guy.
Is there like pans or something? What were those? I can't remember. It looked like a pan like drops on top of you or something.
That's the worst.
That one always hit me, and I'm like, oh, this is dumb.
It's like it comes out of the sky, just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. You don't even know it's coming.
So it's kind of a nice surprise. Whether or not it's a $50-$60 surprise, I'm not sure.
You know, I sort of want to add this one to my collection too. This is probably my favorite video game book club of the month for both games. I mean, both of these games I really want to add to my collection now. It's really
that's saying
good.
Something, because you've been poo-pooing the N64 a lot.
I know.
Recently.
I really want this game now.
Smudgy graphics and all. You want it now.
Yeah, I want it. I want it bad.
I still kind of have a lot of nostalgia for the N64 smudge, and I still
none
think
whatsoever.
Well, as smudgy as they look, I would still rather play 3D games. Just speaking generally, I would rather have the look of the N64 versus the look of the PlayStation or Saturn trying to do 3D. Because
if N64 did it right, then it was better than any. To me, like when they did their 3D, it was really good. Like, and I really enjoyed it. But when it was bad, like it was bad.
Well, but everything on the N64 was stable. The polygons might be ugly and stuff.
But I give you that. Yeah,
they weren't warpy and twitchy, and the camera always worked better. Like, and I'm gonna get maybe some hate mail for this, but like I think of like Tomb Raider for PlayStation, which is a good game and everybody likes it, and you know, et cetera, et cetera. But if you go back and play Tomb Raider 1 right now,
oh boy,
the textures camera and the warping and everything is so bad you can barely tell what you're doing. Like it's
zooming up in her face, and you're just like, where am I at?
It's I mean, it's legit bad. And I have Burning Rangers for Saturn, right?
Yep.
And it's like this expensive game that everybody really wants, you know, for their Saturn collection, blah, blah, blah. The game is almost unplayable.
Yeah, I think that game's overrated.
And I hear people say, oh, it's a great game. I'm like, no, you spent, you know, a ton of money on it, and then you're saying it's great because you spent a ton of money.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
It is a bad game. It really is. But yeah, Saturn 3D games generally, again, are not that great. Now, there's Power Slave, and there's... Quake, you know. So those are sort of like there are decent 3D games on Saturn, but I still would rather play, just speaking generally, 3D games on N64 versus.
And in this game, I think it's in like the top quarter of, for graphics wise, like N64 games. It doesn't blow you away, but it's definitely not bad.
Well, it's got a solid frame rate, you know.
And I was maybe looking at it different because I played on and I used S video, and it looked, to me, pretty dang good.
Yeah,
I thought the graphics. Does it look good on just a normal?
Yeah, especially like the underwater level, and some of the one, like you can tell they put a lot of time into it.
Okay, I don't know. I thought it was one of the better N64 games I've seen graphically. I thought it looked really good.
Well, I thought, you know, the frame rate being as good as it was one of the
highlight
the key things for me, because you know, especially on split screen and you know, levels that are big. I mean, think back to GoldenEye, and everybody always has the rose-colored glasses for GoldenEye.
It was awesome.
But it is awesome. But I can see where somebody. But if you go back and play, though, that thing's smooth.
If you go put it on 4-player and you know, split screen and like throw proximity mines everywhere, that game chugs hard.
Yeah,
you know,
you know what I compare it to? It's almost like looking at like standard definition now. Like, have you ever seen a TV show and switch to like the non-HD, and you're like, whoa, what is that? But then back then, you know, you had a nice TV, you saw that.
The way I enjoy N64 is the N64 was basically training for when you're older and have cataracts. You know, and if you view it that way, if you treat it like it was intended to be a cataract simulator, then you'll enjoy it. It's just getting you ready for your future life.
It's true.
And actually, as you age, I think everyone should play N64 like once a week, you know, maybe for 10 minutes, just to be, you know, just to be ready. You have to be able to play. You have to be able to drive a car.
I'm playing GoldenEye at the old folks' home. You know it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. You won't even, you know,
hopefully that sticks tight. You can still play.
Yeah, your vision can drop to, you know, 220 or whatever before you'll notice any difference.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry, Janine, you can't be Odd Job.
Yeah.
Nobody's still Odd Job.
Trudy, don't be Odd Job. Bertha, knock it off. Stop being Odd Job. Yeah.
I was that cheap guy and did that too, man. I was always picking Odd Job.
No,
my
man,
friends were mad at me.
You always had to have the nobody's Odd Job.
Yeah. Oh no, we never had Odd Job.
Yeah, you can't be Odd Job.
Did you guys ever play the blue cart 007 or what was that one called?
Nightfire or
Tomorrow Never Dies?
Tomorrow Never Dies. I think it was the blue cart.
Yeah.
That was a really good multiplayer. That the single wasn't good.
Not bad.
Yeah, the multiplayer is really good. I had fun playing that one. It's a little bit different than the first one, but it was solid, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of variability in the James Bond games and how good they are, you know, over the years.
Yeah,
you know.
They didn't age particularly well, but I mean,
yeah. Well, and everybody still always talks about GoldenEye on N64, and I don't know if Perfect Dark just didn't sell as well or whatever. But Perfect Dark's clearly a better game.
It came out quite a bit later.
The guns were better on that too. The weapon.
They used the expansion pack. You had to have the RAM expansion to really play it. I think you could play it without it, but it was like really limited.
It was so limited. It was whack. My buddy
bought
that game and then didn't have an expansion pack. So for like 2 weeks before he could afford to get the expansion pack, we were playing it. And it was just bare bones, man. It was just horrible.
Yeah, I almost picked Perfect Dark for my video game pick, but I thought it might be too popular.
Yeah.
It was.
It sort of is, but it sort of isn't, though. That's a weird game.
Yeah, Perfect Dark's a good game. It's really hard to go back to
that laptop gun. Oh.
Yeah, the laptop gun, man. Oh yeah,
that was it.
I like the stages too, man. On that multiplayer, just great.
The thing is, I tried to play GoldenEye not too terribly long ago, and not having, like, I've gotten so used to having two analog sticks.
Yeah, it's hard to.
That it is super hard to go back to not having analog sticks. And you know, the game that I actually feel like controls better, and I thought it was really weird at the time, is Turok.
Yeah.
Because Turok is actually the C buttons
Yeah.
that are forward, backward, and strafe side to side, and then your analog stick looks around. And I remember thinking back in the day, man, this is super weird. But now it actually controls easier for me than GoldenEye does. And everybody hates on Turok because it has like 10 feet in front of you, and then it's fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes
was
sense,
considered
though.
a cool feature.
I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was really cool, yeah, because you were
actually
scared what was around the corner.
Exactly.
I actually didn't realize back at the time that they were doing that because of hardware limitations.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, God, this game, like, it runs 60 frames a second. It looks so awesome,
Yeah.
you know, and you're hunting dinosaurs and you have these cool weapons and all this stuff. But
I
yeah.
really enjoyed the first Turok.
Yeah, I actually
I had
really
it as a
liked
kid.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Turok
rented
as
it
well.
probably about 20 times. Because
Yeah, and
I
then
actually rented it in 64 2 times because of that. I never even owned it in 64.
Yeah, and then it spawned a whole range of sequels that nobody played.
Yeah.
Like, there's Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. There's Turok 3.
Rage Wars.
Yeah, Rage Wars.
One of them had was good battle mode. It had you could play against bots, which was cool because me and my buddy would play
Yeah,
against
I
the
think
bots.
that's
So it's sort of like a horde mode back then, which was really neat. And then also is very gory. Is like you shot something and it would like take off their head, and you're like, whoa, that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there actually are. You know, that's a fairly violent game, and then Doom 64 is actually not a bad game.
Yeah.
either. It's a pretty solid Doom, and the interesting thing about Doom 64, we've gone way off on a tangent.
Yeah, we sort of went off on.
but-
Sorry, Snowboard Kids too.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about Doom 64 is that it is a completely different Doom game. It's not a port of a different Doom
Yeah,
game. Like
it's sort of
they
their-
made
its
they made
own-
a from the ground up
Yep.
different Doom game for N64, and it's the only version of that game.
Yep.
So you don't really have a complete Doom collection unless you have Doom 64 because it's different than all the others.
Yeah. Which is nice, yeah. Because I mean, we just had a debacle of the. I'll just say it, the Doom VFR, like virtual reality.
yeah.
I didn't really like
It's
that.
not bad. It's just when I have Doom VFR as well, and I thought it was going to be just the Doom remake. I mean, we're talking about PS4 now.
Yeah. So
Another-
wow, we're
another
really
tangent.
going off. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. but the
I just thought I had to throw that in there.
yeah, but the Doom VR is basically sort of a separate game. And
Yeah.
I thought that it was going to be it'll be the new Doom just in VR.
VR, yeah.
But it's totally different. It's not a bad game. It's just a lot different. It's not as good.
Yeah.
Is the problem. It's not a bad game. It's just not as good as the source material.
Yeah.
And therefore it's kind of you view
Watered
it as being
down,
worse
yeah.
than what it actually
Is,
just
yeah.
because it's like, well, this isn't bad, but it's not as good as the other one that I can get cheaper.
Yep.
And came out first.
Yep.
So yes, I agree with you. Is what I'm trying to say.
Sorry, guys, we got off on a little tangent there.
But back to Snowboard Kids 2.
Playable characters. How many does it have? Like
I believe
8?
it has 6 at the
Six?
beginning, and then I think you can unlock 3 of them.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, I think there's 15 different courses, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
That's about how many I've played. So, I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah,
with
so
that.
solid game. I think we would recommend it if you can find it. It's like I said, for
Even the first one's really good too. I should
Yeah,
say
and
that,
much
too.
cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like $20
$20,
cheaper.
yeah.
20
I think
to
it's only a
30.
$20 game. So
Yeah, 20 to 30.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say.
I mean, it's definitely would be worth $20. I think that at least from what I've read, I didn't play them side by side, but the multiplayer is significantly better on this one.
Yeah.
Than the prior.
I've heard some people actually like the first one a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like a little bit tighter on the controls and stuff like that. So
Yeah, they do a good job of like with the rubber banding. It's not like terrible like sometimes it is in Mario Kart where you just get screwed over
Yeah.
if you're in the first position.
Yeah, where they're always just
yeah.
keep wrecking you.
It kind of will give you some decent items in this one when
Yeah, it
playing
does.
multiplayer.
Yeah,
I do like that.
When
Yeah.
you get toward the back, yeah, it does give you stuff to kind of get you caught up, but there's no blue shell.
Blue
Yeah,
shell. Yeah,
equivalent.
yeah,
Just
get
keep
you back
it-
in. Yeah,
and that's nice.
Well, not just get you back in, but hose over the person who's actually
Exactly.
yeah.
All right, so moving on. So I wanted to real quickly talk about a couple of listener emails people who sent in suggestions between the last episode and this episode. So the first is from Lee, and he says he loves the show, stumbled upon the podcast.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks. And says he knows what the struggles of fatherhood and trying to game and everything are all about.
Yeah.
And he said that he has a cousin who he recently lost, and he was thinking back to the times that they spent together and spent a lot of time and had a lot of fun playing Splatterhouse 2 for the Sega Genesis.
Okay.
Awesome.
Which is a really good pick, and
Awesome pick. Man.
and Metal Storm for the NES. So we usually will only take one pick from an email, but I like both of these games so much. I'm gonna put both of them in.
You're going beyond the rules, man.
So
That's
Lee,
fine. Yeah.
you and your buddy there, we're real sorry to hear about.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that.
The,
So yeah,
the,
both
the
of them
loss
get in.
and everything,
Yep.
but
Absolutely.
But you guys have good picks of games,
Yeah.
or good tasting games. So I'm going to put both of them in there.
Absolutely.
Both are kind of big within the gaming community, like in collectors, but
Yep.
weren't very popular. I
Weren't
guess when
very
they first
popular.
came
Yep.
out.
Yep. So this is great.
That's good. Yeah.
And then Josh says, "Hey guys." Says he likes the podcast, became a dad in January, so congratulations on
congrats,
that.
man.
Drives a truck, and so consumes a lot of podcasting.
Nice.
So we're happy to be part of that. He wanted to suggest Legend of Illusion for the Sega Game Gear.
Okay. I have that.
And-
Really? I never even heard
Yeah,
of
he
it.
says
So
it's one of the
awesome.
first games
Okay.
he ever remembers beating, so we're going to put that in. And then Clint, who I think got picked on a previous episode, he is a viewer of Bithead 1000 and learned of us from Bithead. So
All right.
thank you, Bithead, for
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, buddy.
And has a 21-month-old daughter, and who's trying to train the right way on the NES, and says she likes shooters.
Really?
But
Awesome.
He suggests Shatterhand, so we're going to put that in.
Okay.
And
Cool.
I'm happy to have that in there as well, because that's also
Yeah,
an
that's awesome
game.
one. Yeah, cool.
All right, so it's time to come up with our video game book club picks for the next episode.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, we picked the two games we talked about in the last episode. We're going to pick two more games for the next episode. The first game is going to be a pick from us, the dads.
Yep.
The second pick will be from one of our listeners who has submitted a pick, either via Facebook, facebook.com/videogamedads, or through our email, videogamedads@yahoo.com. So if you would like to submit a pick, just send it to one of those two things. We will put it in the episode.
Yep.
And we'll probably
Put your pick in the randomizer.
And
Yeah.
give a reason why, maybe.
Yeah. Give us a brief description. Don't just
yeah.
say, I want blah to be like, tell us why this game's important to you. And we don't want upper echelon, really super common games. So no Mario Brothers 3.
no 3. Yep.
No Crash Bandicoots. Pick something that's a little bit off the radar. Something that not a ton of people played. Something that was.
What's Benjamin say? The top 15?
Yeah, he
what
says
do we
top
just-
15%.
Yep, around there.
That's kind of hard to define, but you get what we're saying.
going for.
Is-
Yeah,
is-
That's how I started, was submitting a video game pick, and then I'm on the show. So.
Yeah, and
Hey,
it
they
gets
might fly
crazy.
in and
Gets
you
crazy.
could be a co-host.
Yeah, you may be a co-host if you submit a pick. So the last pick was Michael's. This week's pick is going to be mine. And we're still on the N64 for the dads. And the listener picks, again, if you're going to submit a pick, it can be from any system, literally any system, modern to old. Try not to be too weird with it. Like, don't give us a there's a few systems we don't have, like an FM Towns Marty. we don't have an Amiga.
Sega Amiga. Yeah, that's what I say. Amiga.
So
yeah.
and we actually have a fair number of European listeners. Sorry, Europe.
Yeah.
We don't have Amigas.
Yeah. We wish we did, but
yeah.
we
So
don't.
but you can pick
Dang
basically anything. I mean, even Jaguar or something.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance one of us probably has it, and we can play it. So get those picks in there. But it's my pick for this, and I'm going to go with Blast Cores.
Okay.
All right.
N64,
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's not a super rare game or anything, but I feel like it's a game that nobody gives any love to.
Yep.
And I loved this game. It's actually, Mario 64 is probably my favorite N64 game, followed by Ocarina, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But this is probably my third favorite N64.
Really?
game.
Okay.
Yeah, I really
Okay.
like it. It's a rare game. And when I say rare, I don't mean
Made
that it's
the
not
company,
common.
yeah.
It's made by Rare, the
Yeah.
company. And it has all the rare polish, and it's from sort of the heyday of some of their big, best games.
Yep.
And
That's when they're at their top of the peak.
yeah,
They're
it's just
making great games.
And there is literally no other game like this game.
Yep.
You'll never have seen and or played anything quite like it.
I haven't played this in years, and I
this is
don't
nice.
have too much history with it, so this will be
Yeah,
this will
so
be fun.
I haven't played it in a long time, so I'm going to go back and play it. And that right now is a good opportunity to do so. So I'm going to take advantage of it. And as far as our viewer pick, I'm going to get out our randomizer here.
Beep boop beep boop beep boop boop boop.
Beep, boop. And we have the Lone Ranger for the NES.
Ooh, cool. Okay. I don't have it, but man, this sounds like a good one.
So yeah, we'll do the Lone Ranger. Do you have the Lone Ranger, Michael?
You know, I was just actually pulling out my phone to see if I do have it or not.
I know the cover art. It's got the cowboy with the mask on, like the show.
I believe actually I do have it. I do not think I played it, so this really gives me a good reason to play it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, awesome.
That's about the best thing about book club.
I looked it up, and I
get a chance to play
it.
games that you haven't, so perfect.
Yep, so look forward to that on the next episode and get your picks in. So moving on to our next topic. I wanted to talk about games with unfortunate names. And there are many, it turns out.
Many. Many.
If you want to, so for the segment, I got online and I just looked at list of NES, SNES, and Genesis games. Because there's too many games or too many different systems and that sort of thing. But looking through those systems kind of from late 80s through the early to mid 90s, I mean, bad names were more than the rule than the exception to the rule. Games just had horrible names back then. I mean, so I went through those and I kept thinking, well, I could include so many of these because so many of them are bad for so many reasons. I mean, if you go to the NES, and these are not games I necessarily included, but there's like a whole slew of games that like the names of the games are just nonsense words.
Well, just like the one on video game book club. Yeah, video game book club of the month. Pickle or what like I always I'm just that's what I call
Kickle
it.
Cubicle.
Kickle Cubicle.
The worst, oh my gosh, that's definitely horrible. I think Zexel spelled like XEX like YL or something like that. It's crazy.
Yes.
What kid or adult would look at that and say, "Yeah, I want"?
Which actually turns out to be, I think, a pretty decent shooter from Hudson.
It is. Yes. It is.
Yeah. Wiz and Liz, Sega Genesis, like that. That's a weird one. Like that. How's that going to sell anything? And that sounds a little weird.
Yeah, Mom, I want the game. Yeah,
Wiz.
Yeah, Wiz and Liz. There's actually, and this is the only PlayStation game I included on the list. But there is a PS1 game that's kind of infamous called Irritating Stick.
Irritating Stick.
Yeah,
wow.
And it's a maze game where you take a stick and rotate it through all these mazes.
Really?
And it's called Irritating Stick, and it's actually not a terrible game. I've played it before, but
how did that just go through? And people are
it's kind of irritating when you don't get through the maze, and thus it's an irritating stick. They were very literal in the naming of the game.
Yeah, probably one of my favorites that I have is a 32X game called Golf Magazine Presents 36 Holes starring Fred Couples. It's quite a mouthful for a title right there.
Yeah, that sounds a little X-rated too.
Yeah.
There's another game that's kind of infamous, a Game Boy Advance game called Carnage.
Carnage?
And it's Karnaaj. And you would think that it was a game filled with violence, maybe some guns, maybe some blood splatter. No, it's an overhead RC Pro-Am type, like kart racing game.
Wow.
And the dude on the cover looks like he has two black eyes, got the worst cover art ever. And I believe it's a Majesco game, if my memory serves correctly. But yeah, Carnage.
Yeah.
Car is a play on the fact that you're playing a car, but they didn't. It's Carnage, so Carnage, because you're playing in a car. But they didn't spell it with a C; they spelled it with a K.
Oh wow!
So the game is
they're trying to be way too slick with that.
Well, it's just totally nonsensical. And there was just some dude doing acid in the in the marketing department that day who thought that was the best idea that he'd ever had.
Too creative.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, this is a game that's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But sold poorly, I'm sure, on the pure basis that you can't tell what it is from the cover art.
Yeah.
And you sure as hell can't tell what it is from the name.
Yeah. What else do we got?
NES, there's a Princess Tomato in the Salad Kingdom. Doesn't sound too interesting to me.
No, and that's actually a very sought after NES.
I know it is, but I could have.
Princess Tomato.
Some of these games are just, it sounds so doesn't even sound exciting. It's like, why would you even put that as your title? It's not dirty or anything. It's just
what were we talking about earlier? The ninja. Batman.
Oh, Ninja Baseball Batman.
Ninja Baseball
I actually
Batman.
think that title is brilliant.
It is. It's kind of like so bad it's awesome, but
Yeah,
it's kind of like
well,
I mean,
you had to, it came out in the early to mid '90s, so it's
Everything's a ninja,
everything
man.
that
Yeah.
was cool is in the title.
Yeah.
Ninjas, baseball, so sports,
Yeah.
and Batman.
The only thing they could add was an explosion on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Explodes.
Yeah, they could have they could have called it Extreme or
Yeah.
EX or
Yeah.
something at the end. But,
Yeah, it would have been another 5 or 10 years down the road. They would have done that. Everything was extreme.
well,
then.
if the Street Fighter people would have gotten a hold of it, we would have got a whole potpourri of awesome variations. Another good one that I found was Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat.
Yeah.
From the
Yep.
NES.
Actually, that's not a bad game, though. By the way, I'm being totally
Well,
serious.
really?
So I'm being totally.
It's a
serious.
racing game,
It's a
correct?
racing
Yeah.
game. It's like super off road. I think we talked about that a little bit. Real similar to
It
that.
has like pit
Okay.
stops and that sort of thing.
No, it's not like that. It's
No.
just like an overhead, and there's just 4 cars, and you kind of just race around the
Isometric
track.
kind of
Yep,
thing. Okay.
exactly. Yeah, I would actually check that out.
Yeah.
Not a great name.
Yeah,
Actually, not a
Danny
bad
Sullivan's Indie Heat.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
not a pretty
great
bad
name.
table. Yeah.
Another one occurred to me this week. So I get on Facebook Marketplace and that sort of thing from time to time, and so Shane sells a lot of games. He sells games to finance games that he wants.
Yes.
Right? So he
Yes.
tries to sell things
His
at a
doubles.
profit.
Yeah.
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 So doubles and all that kind of thing. So I happened on this ad. And it was for Balls.
B? Yeah.
BALLZ.
Yes.
Balls 3D, which was a Super Nintendo and Genesis title.
Yes.
It came out on both systems, and it's a fighting game where you're just characters made of balls.
Yep.
Like spheres. I mean.
Yeah.
And but it's called Balls.
Yeah.
Balls 3D.
Oh.
And
Why would you ever want to play that? This isn't even normally I sell off my doubles, but this game, that title just threw me off. So I'm never gonna play that.
it's not even a double.
It's not even a double.
Oh,
yeah, that's how bad that title
Well,
is.
it is Balls 3D.
3D,
Yeah,
so
you don't want
it's
people
like,
thinking you're a weirdo.
But if it had the box, I'd keep it though. But that's
There's also a sports games typically have like normal names like
Yeah.
NHL, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
NFL, yada yada, NBA, Jam, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's an interesting basketball game called Barkley Shut Up and Jam.
Yep.
Thanks, Barkley.
my
I'm gonna
favorites.
jam it right now, man.
Because Barkley had all the attitude.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
much tude.
So it's Barkley Shut Up and Jam, and it's sort of funny because there's actually a dedicated game of Bulls versus I think Celtics.
Yes.
Like why would you want that?
I always thought that was the weirdest thing that they had dedicated games like that.
And
Yeah.
then for the NES, there's also a game called Jordan versus Bird.
Yep.
Where it's
3-point
Yep.
contest
Yeah.
and dunk contest.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but Barkley Shut Up and Jam actually takes the cake for bad names,
And there's 2 of them.
and there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
There's a sequel. The first was so good that you had to have Barkley Shut Up and Jam 2, which is a real thing.
What you were saying earlier is Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu.
Shaq in karate. What do you think when you think of like a 7'3" big guy? Kung Fu? No.
I think of
Horrible
potential, and then it failed.
Yeah.
I had high hopes when I
This
first
was
played that
around the
game.
time when Shaq was being marketed.
Yeah, he was huge.
Well,
Yes.
he was.
Shoes in Walmart.
Yeah, the
like-
shoes.
I used to love the movie Blue Chips. I don't know if you ever
Oh,
seen that.
man,
with
Blue
Bill
Chips is
Pullman.
great.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a reference.
Yeah,
Yes.
man, he was big.
Yeah, Kazam.
Because
Oh, yeah.
that was horrible.
He did everything. He
Yeah,
did
no.
everything.
He was. Shaq was like an industry unto himself.
Yes.
Like he was like the Dwayne Johnson of 1994.
That is very true. That's a very
was
good.
in-
I was going to say Kardashian, but that's a way better analogy right
Yeah,
there.
like
Yes.
he was there for like a year. He was in everything.
Yep.
Is there even like a Michael Jordan basketball game? Oh wait, there is on Super Nintendo.
There's a-
yeah.
what's
Jordan
that?
versus Bird.
Oh, I guess we did say.
What are you
Yeah,
talking about,
Jordan
Jordan in
versus
Windy
Bird.
City? The
Yeah.
SNES game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh
what I was
God,
thinking.
that's a
Yeah,
bad
it's an
one, too.
adventure. It's an adventure game starring Michael Jordan. I mean,
Exactly.
Where he throws
Yeah.
basketballs at you.
Yeah,
That's
Your
a-
projectiles are basketballs.
Oh boy. We had some other ones. What's some other ones?
On PS2, there's a game called BMX Triple X.
Yeah.
First thing I think,
BMXXX.
yeah,
Yes.
BMXXX. I'm thinking like porn.
Well, that's what it was supposed to be. Yeah, it was.
But then they weren't actually naked, correct?
No, I think they were.
Were they? But they had it blocked out. I don't even remember.
That game got horrible reviews.
I don't know anything. I just remember seeing it.
Like almost universally panned. I remember the reviews for it were like 0.5, like 0.2. Like the whole gimmick was just like, oh, it's raunchy.
Yeah.
Another good one that I found is James Pond.
Oh yeah,
and there are actually multiple James Ponds.
Yes, it's trying to do its own little thing.
So James Pond, for those that don't know, is a super spy fish.
Yes,
starring in a series of Super Nintendo and Genesis games.
There was all sorts of slew of a Sega Genesis ones of this. Like there was like a turn, or what was it? Like a track and field type of deal thing. James Pond. I can't remember the name, but yeah, they're just horrible. So don't get them.
There's another Genesis game called Mr. Nuts.
Wow.
NUTZ, because you had to have Z's instead of S's in the 90s.
Well, then the one when Norm was here, Norm's
Beach Baby-Rama. Yeah, which is a Genesis game.
Yes. And what's that game even consist of?
I think it's Normies.
Yeah, Normies. Yes.
Normies Beach Baby-Rama. It wasn't.
So is it like a Leisure Suit Larry game? Because that's what I think of when I hear that.
I have no idea.
Okay,
but it's in our video game book club pick pool.
Yep. Norm picked that.
Maybe one of these days.
Thanks, Norm.
Yeah, it'll actually come up. And there's another Super Nintendo game called Foreman for Real.
Yeah.
And Foreman is George Foreman, so it's a boxing game. But it's Foreman for Real versus the
fake one.
The fake one. Just in case you were confused.
Yeah.
This is actually the real game, not just the box without a game in it. And there's another Super Nintendo game called Spanky's Quest.
Take that as being.
Yeah, there are too many jokes that are way too easy to make.
Yes, we'll just leave that. Yeah,
we'll just let that one simmer.
Did you mention?
Sit down beside.
Did you mention Wiz and Liz?
Yeah, I did Wiz and Liz. Yeah.
I mean, what would Spanky's quest actually? What would he be questing for?
Man, you could spin this so many ways.
There's another
clean episode, right?
Clean episode. There's another Super Nintendo game called Super Putty.
Okay.
Yep. So
even if you don't take that dirty, like what are you gonna do? Play with some putty? Like, I mean, like if you're not gonna, that's just
what would be more fun than an amorphous ball of goo that you can play with in a video game?
I remember seeing that for like $3 or $4, and I put it right back because I couldn't imagine how I enjoyed it.
You put it back, and then you wipe your hand on the side of your pants, and you walk away.
Gotta go.
You're like, does anyone have any Purell?
Hit me with it.
One of the nice things about being married and having children, though, just tangent here, is that Purell is everywhere.
Yeah,
like every time I need Purell, I'm just like, hey, can you give me some Purell? My wife always has some, so if I ever do accidentally pick up, Spanky's Quest or Super Putty,
yes,
I've got Purell like no further away than my wife's purse.
I smell it every day because my daughter, the stuff that she's going through, we have Purell and you come into our house, we have it in our garage, it hangs around our neck, so we have it everywhere. I hate the smell. I can't wait till we're done with everything because it's just everywhere for me.
And, another game is called Tough Enough.
Oh yeah,
TUFF space capital E space NUFF. Tough Enough, which is a Super Nintendo game.
That sounds like it's got some tood,
and it's got tons of tood, and it's like a 2D fighting game.
Okay,
and in Japan it's called Dead Dance or Dance of the Dead or something like that. It kind of has a cool name.
Way cooler,
Japan. Yeah. And they brought it out and they're like, how do we make those dumb American kids buy this thing? I don't know, Tough Enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's all that I wrote down. Did you guys have any others you wanted to add?
No. There's probably a million more.
Oh yeah,
just coming off the top of the head. These are all pretty much off the top of the head.
Yeah,
so.
maybe comment.
Yeah, if you guys got any that you can think of, send it to us. Send us an email. It'd be fun to see what you guys thought.
All right, so moving on to our next topic. We mentioned on the last episode that I was getting ready for a trip to the magical world,
place,
the magical kingdom of Disney World. So I'm back. I have.
He made it back.
I have survived it, and my wallet not as much.
He's wearing Mickey ears right now.
Yeah.
You know,
he's got a Mickey shirt. He's got Mickey ears on.
By the end of the thing,
Mickey gold chain.
You are so immersed in Disney crap the whole week while you're there. Like, I literally wouldn't be surprised if I woke up and I didn't have like a tramp stamp Mickey head on the small of my back. Yeah. I mean, everything is branded Disney. Like, everywhere you look, it's just Disney stuff. Everybody's wearing Disney shirts.
Pancakes, everything you eat.
Yeah, like if you order a pancake, it's going to look like Mickey. Yeah. I mean, there's Disney stuff. I mean, you talk about marketing everything to the nth degree. I mean, it makes Super Bowl marketing look like child's play.
Kiss, you ain't got nothing on us.
No, Disney has it figured out. You know, so we flew out last Saturday, and then we stayed in basically like a standard hotel room kind of thing. And
did you stay on property or?
Yeah, we did. We stayed on the resort. But then they have like buses and trams and monorails and all kinds of crap to basically take you from one place where you spend money to another place where you spend money.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
And there are multiple parks. So there's the Magic Kingdom, which is the one that everybody sort of thinks of with the castle. And all that.
Yep.
And then there's Epcot, where they had the big golf ball thing. And then there's Animal Kingdom, which is kind of like a hybrid zoo. It's really more of a theme park than a zoo. And then there's like a couple of like water parks and some other things. But then each resort has its own like pool areas and different little things that go on there. So it's a big place and there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's a big production. Everything there is a big production.
Yeah.
So we got out there Saturday, and it was actually really pretty warm last week. I mean, it was mid 80s.
Oh, wow.
Nice. It even got near 90. Well, lucky yes, lucky no. It was, it's February, so I was kind of hoping it would be like in the 60s or 70s.
70, yeah.
I tend to run pretty hot. Like I really like the temperature outside, like even in the 50s or so. So yeah, it was actually pretty hot, and there's a lot of. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining too much because I actually had a pretty good time on the trip overall. But there is a lot of waiting for the bus, waiting in line, waiting for dinner, waiting for like you're
waiting to wait.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's there's a lot of hurry up and wait, and
a lot of lines.
Well, yeah, and you would think that it wouldn't be very busy in February. It actually was pretty busy. I mean, everything was busy.
Yeah,
I think it gets worse in the summer. Like spring break, forget about it.
Yeah,
you won't even get in. You won't even get in the front door.
Yep.
But it actually amazes me how many people were there with how expensive everything is.
Yeah.
But I guess they figured out the equilibrium between how much they can charge to fill the place up.
Well, I heard they just were about to raise the prices again too.
Well, I think they probably can. Given
how many people
how many people were there.
Yeah.
But that being said, it is a big production. There's really not anything else that's really like it.
Yeah. No.
And so it's a one of a kind of place. I
suppose. One of a kind experience.
And really, the coolest thing out of the whole thing, I thought, is at the Magic Kingdom they do a big light display. Mm-hmm. It's light display and it's also fireworks. So they project basically like a little movie musical thing onto the Magical Kingdom, like the castle thing.
Okay, that's cool.
And then there's a bunch of fireworks that go off in the background, and they do it every day. And I don't know how they get that production reset, to be able to do it every day. It's actually pretty astounding that they're able to.
There's not so many hiccups along the way.
Or nobody dies every day doing it or whatever. But it is, like I said, you're paying for all of these things that that are happening in the background. But that being said, it was enjoyable. My kid, really liked it, and he's only 4.
Yeah.
So it was almost too much. Almost overwhelming, because we would get up in the morning. And it's like, sensory overload. My hair's on fire. How do I focus on all these things that are going on all day long? That, and you're, walking around hot and tired and all that sort of thing. So there were a few meltdowns.
Yeah.
But he did pretty well.
Nice.
Good.
I think for the week, in total. And he actually did pretty well on the flight there and the flight back. Unfortunately, from Kansas City to Orlando, there's a direct one-way flight. So you don't have to change. You don't have to change planes.
Yep.
But yeah, whole week was pretty good. Got a few T-shirts. Of course, Disney owns all the Star Wars crap now, so they're shoving
that's everywhere.
down your throat too the whole time. And apparently, there's a new Star Wars thing that's going to open up. And I mean, they always have like a new thing that's going to happen next year to get you.
They're
to
always
come back
building.
Next, yeah, because like next year is Toy Story World or whatever.
Yeah,
and the year after
we're gonna
that,
miss
it's
out
the
on
big new
that.
Star Wars thing, and so forth. But that being said, a pretty good vacation. I don't know that I want to do it again anytime really soon because it's kind of an anti-vacation for me because I mentioned this on the last episode. Like my vacation is like, feed me, let me sleep, and don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. I'm more of an all-inclusive type person.
Yeah.
Paid on the beach.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about paying. I just pay at the beginning and I'm done. That's what I like.
And so, in this, we had pre-played a lot of it, but they're, a lot of Disney, though, it's actually surprising because they have these big theme parks, and the theme parks are really well sculpted, and everything's really well thought out. Yeah. But there's actually kind of a surprisingly small number of rides at each place.
Oh, okay.
And there are a lot of shops.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shops.
I haven't been
I saw
in a
you
long
had a
time, but I
matching.
remember that.
I saw you had a matching shirt with your son. That was nice.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got a shirt?
That was actually a pre-Disney bought shirt. So we had...
Thought ahead. Nice.
Yeah, so my wife...
That's the thing you do now, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my wife shows me... My wife shows me before we head out, like, she's like, oh, we have matching shirts. Mm-hmm. So, like, we have... And my shirt says Daddy, hers says Mommy, and my kid's has his name on it.
Yep.
And then... So that was like a red shirt. And this one, in my shirt, my daddy shirt, has this big heart on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like the biggest, softiest, horrible looking thing you could possibly put on. And so we wore that actually through the airport and on the first day that we were there. And my wife was taking pictures of me the whole time. She's like, oh, look at you. You look so cute. I'm like, I'm going to take it off if you don't knock it off. And then the next day we had black shirts, same deal. Mine said Daddy, hers says Mommy, my kid says his, but again matching.
Yes.
And this one has Mickey's hat on it. Mm-hmm. And I thought, God, we are such a bunch of dorks. This is the.
Nope.
I mean, and I've reached the age where like I don't really care what other people think.
Don't even matter.
It really doesn't bother me what other people think. But I'm just thinking, we look like the biggest bunch of like from the Midwest. Oh shucks, we ain't never seen nothing like this.
We here in the big city.
Yeah, we got matching shirts on. But like so I'm sort of thinking that. But then we get to Disney itself, and everybody's wearing that crap.
Yeah,
everybody is just as in the tank as we were. So I thought that was a little bit funny because people were like, "Oh, we like your matching shirts," and then my wife's like, "Oh, we like your matching shirts," and it was just this. It's so campy and so weird.
Yeah,
like it really is.
Yeah,
and there are a lot of people from overseas. Like when you're there, there was a surprisingly high number of people from Britain.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There, so a lot of.
Do they not have a park there? I'm guessing.
What's that?
I guess they don't have a Disney park there.
No, well, I mean, there's the one in France, but
it's not like this though. Like this is the Mecca.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny because we were always like next to a British family.
Yeah,
and they're so much more. What's the word? Proper. Use the language appropriately.
Yes.
That sort of thing. And we're sitting next to this mom and her kid, and the mom says, "Would you like a crumpet?" And the little kid's like, "Well, yes, mother."
The most cliche thing you're thinking that is real.
I was like, wow, they really do ask for crumpets. That's awesome.
Somebody just didn't make that up.
I don't even know what a crumpet is. I think it's a biscuit, but in any respect, so there was a lot of that. There was. There were a few people from France and other places, quite a few from South America actually, and so we had a good time. We got to meet a lot of people from a lot of different places. But actually, I said that the show, the light show, and the thing on the thing was probably, and that was the best thing. But the second best thing was that we were staying at the Port Orleans Riverside Resort.
Yeah.
And which is kind of a mock-up of New Orleans. Why that's at Disney, I have no idea.
Yeah.
That doesn't really seem like a Disney thing. But at any rate, they had a little bar, a little tavern in the center of the thing, and there's a guy that shows up and does a piano show. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of one of those happy sing-along, clap, and they make you do stuff and all that sort of thing. And we went to his show. So Wednesday night was my wife's birthday.
Okay.
And so we actually went to that show, and it's sort of like well, bar songs.
Yeah,
things are easy to sing along, but it's all Disney stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the guy's like playing Disney songs, and I mean not all Disney songs, but a lot of Disney songs.
Yeah.
But he was making people from the audience get up and do all kinds of stupid things, and I ended up galloping, riding a fake horse at one point.
Any video evidence?
There is video.
There is. I got it. So
okay.
don't worry.
There
I can hold them hostage.
Yeah,
now.
there is actually video evidence. I had to do the YMCA in front of a room full of people.
Nice.
The little dance,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but we had a good time, I guess.
Oh, and a side note, he has his Video Game Dad's T-shirt on too.
Yeah,
so this might get uploaded on the Facebook.
This will not get uploaded to Facebook, but it was good. Yeah, I actually did wear my Video Game Dad shirt a couple of days that we were up there, so I was representing.
Well, let me tell you, my wife listened to the last podcast, and she was, she wasn't too happy that you weren't like 100% committed, Adam.
No, I've actually,
But let me say,
a lot of people have said this though to me over the last couple of weeks. They've been like, "How can you not just be 100% in the tank for Disney?" And it's like,
I understand.
Everybody thinks that.
But let me say, when I showed her the picture of the matching shirts, the matching Mickey shirts, she applauded. She was impressed. And,
back on the team.
No, man,
I
I did what I needed to do for family. Family happiness.
I was impressed.
This is all good stuff to hear because I'm about ready to go here in 2 months. So Make-A-Wish, they granted Lexi's wish to go to Disney, so we're going to go there. So we're going to stay on resort also. So now I get to hear everything that you
guys will have a really good time. And I'll tell you, whenever you're there, just call me and I'll tell you all the things not to do and all the things to do.
I'm listening right now. Tell me right now.
Well, they're some things aren't as cool as what you would think, and some things are actually some of the things that are cooler don't have lines.
Yeah.
But
what was the kiddo's favorite ride?
My kid's favorite ride?
Yeah.
Oh, let me think about that for a minute. I can tell you what he didn't like. He's 4, so we did the Tower of Terror with him.
Oh, was he able to do that?
Well, yeah, you can. They actually let little bitty kids on the rides that seemingly
that you don't think you would.
Yeah, that they wouldn't let them on. But yeah, we did the Tower of Terror with him.
Boy,
he wasn't scared as much as he was pissed off.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it was really fun because we did it, and my wife and I, really liked it. And then he's like scowling, as we're walking out of the place. I'm like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I didn't like that ride." I'm like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Why? You should have taken me on that. I didn't like that ride." He was really mad about it. Yeah. And then there's another ride that's like a small roller coaster, but it's the Doors Mine Train or something like that.
I never heard of that one.
This one's at Magic Kingdom. It's one of the new ones. But we rode it, and again he was totally ticked off.
Really?
Got off the ride like how could you? This is not good parenting. You're not supposed to take me on this. I'm like, dude, you're 6 inches above the line.
Yeah.
To say that you can. And he's like, no,
Disney says you could do it, son.
So he they have a lot of these rides where you just sort of float around and you look at stuff. So like Little Mermaid, was like that. He liked that, and there's Buzz and Woody, where you shoot stuff, they just send you through on a little cart and you're like playing a shooter video game, kind of thing. Cool. And he really liked those.
Oh, that's right. And Disney owns Pixar now. So
yeah, they own Pixar.
Okay.
I've done that because I've been there like 6 or 7 years ago. That one was really fun.
Yeah, yeah. So
I think Lexi will really love that one.
He liked those. And then in Tomorrowland, which is part of the Magic Kingdom, they have this thing called the Orbiter, which is just this thing that spins around up on top of a building.
It's not where you get stuck to the wall.
No,
because when I was younger, I remember that's
a Barforama, man.
That's what my dad put me on when I was younger, and I remember I was kind of like your son. I was like, why did you do that? That was not fun at all. I just felt like I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, but he really liked the Orbiter. Like it's not the being up high that scares him; it's the drops.
The drops.
He
Okay.
doesn't like
the falling feeling.
But when we were on the Tower of Terror, though, it was really funny because he's like, because you're just kind of riding along, and then all of a sudden you just drop. And I'm talking, you drop like 10 stories.
I'm gonna go with
those.
And
my daughter's not gonna do that.
And he was like it was like my arm. He was sitting next to me, and I kind of had my arm across his shoulders and on his belly, sort of holding.
Yeah.
And he clamped onto me like a bear trap.
Oh man!
Yeah, when that thing went down, it was like it was every muscle in his body was grabbing for something.
I'm taking my son on that one. He's been giving me a lot of crap here lately.
Yeah,
so he's going on the Tower of Terror, buddy. You're right on there.
I said we're gonna drop, but boy, he clinched up big time whenever we fell. But I think my favorite ride. Actually, it was Everest.
Yeah, what was your guys'? The adults. What was your guys' favorite?
Mine was probably the Everest roller coaster at the Animal Kingdom, which is one that nobody ever talks about.
Yeah, I never even heard of that. Okay,
but I really liked it. Tower of Terror was good. The Aerosmith ride was pretty decent, despite having to listen to Aerosmith on it. Please send your hate mail to Video Game Dads.
Yeah, please send it. I hate Aerosmith. So,
but the ride was pretty good. And we actually went on it as Disney Hollywood was closing, and Casey and I got to ride that ride like 4 times in a row within like 30 minutes.
Oh, cool!
Like straight from the back of the line, ride it, then back on. So we actually rode that ride more than anything. Cool. Just because of that. Awesome. We did the Tower of Terror twice, but like, during the day, if you didn't have the fast pass, it was like a 2-hour wait, to get on Tower of Terror.
Did you have that fast pass?
Yeah. Yeah, we went one time really late at night, right before park closed, and the wait was only like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was a fast pass.
That's I think we get a fast pass, so I'm super excited about that.
Yeah,
you wait quite as long.
You get like 3 fast passes a day where you can pick any ride, and you basically just walk onto it.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow,
when you're towing kids around, you don't get to do a whole lot more than that.
So you
anyways.
pick the lines or the rides that have the longest lines. I'm guessing.
Did you guys do Haunted Mansion with him?
Yes.
How do you like that?
He liked it. Yeah.
I don't think it's too scary, right?
There's no drops on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
the interaction looks really cool.
He doesn't get freaked out by like ghosty things and stuff. So yeah, he was perfectly fine with it. But I could see some kids being.
Oh man, Lexi isn't gonna like that either. We went and watched Coco. Sorry, I'm going off. We watched. I think it's called Coco or something. Where the Day of the Dead, it's a new animated movie. Mm-hmm. We went to that movie and lasted about 20 minutes.
Really? You had to leave that?
We had to leave because she was just too scary because she didn't like how everybody...
well, some kids are that way. I mean, but yeah, my kid actually really liked that movie. But yeah, if she can't do that, she probably won't like that ride. Okay. But a pretty successful week overall.
It seemed like you had really good fun, man. Yeah, all the pictures I seen and everything, it seemed like you guys had a great time, man.
Yeah, I mean, everything's overpriced. The food's overpriced. And it's also
to be expected, though.
Yeah, everything is, though, when you're going out to event. I mean, look, sporting events, I mean, they're all overpriced.
It sounds like it's so big they can really just gouge you because there's nothing else to do.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're
on their property,
when you're on their property, it's like going into boot camp where there's like some drill sergeants. We own you.
Is it even possible to like find like a $10 burger versus like a $20 one, or are they all pretty much everything's?
So they have like 2 echelons of restaurants. So there's kind of the McDonald's echelon, which is just like the
$8 to $10 range.
No, it's more like 15.
Okay, 15. Okay,
where you get like a burger or whatever.
Yeah,
but like you just walk up.
So we're talking like airport now, like pricing.
No, I mean airport would probably be an improvement. It's not particularly good food, but they have like the fast food, and then they have like the set down restaurants. And so like I'll just tell you, when you have to make reservations for a lot of the set down restaurants to be able to get into them. Yep. So we went to a sit-down restaurant at Disney Hollywood called Park and Vine or something like that, but it's like an old 50s diner. It's like
that's the one I like. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, my wife, and my child, who's 4, to eat there, it was like $160.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
did you get lobster or
no? It was like country buffet food.
Man.
Like fried chicken style.
Yeah, I mean the most expensive thing, like food wise, on the bar was shrimp, and they had some salmon on the bar, and it was decent food. Yeah. But like my wife showed me the receipt. We were done. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. Oh boy, I'm gonna start selling some video games.
It's like a Ruth Chris bill.
Yeah, but yeah, for a family of 3, for us, for just like a regular meal at the cheap place, it was like $40, and then for a regular meal like the set down place was like $80 to $150.
Man, I'm going in that thing like Santa Claus. I'm gonna have like goldfish stuffed under my shirt.
So like I said, if I don't think about how many Nintendo games I could have bought,
right?
How many NES games I gave up on, so I go to Disney.
Yeah.
Then then I don't cry so much.
Yeah. We can talk about it later, but I think you were messaging us about buying some video games while in Disney.
I may have done so. I did not. So the most disappointing thing about Disney is that there are no video games for sale anywhere.
Yeah. Like I was going to ask if they had any like Disney Infinity stuff laying around.
Oh, it doesn't matter how many shops I went through. There is no video game, nothing in all of Disney World.
There was no Wreck-It Ralph anywhere?
No.
I'm disappointed.
There are a butt ton of T-shirts. Tons of memorabilia, snow globes, pins, keychains, etc., etc., etc. No video games.
You know how your wife's going to get you to go to these things? Universal Studios when the Mario comes out.
Dude, I'm telling you, no. When I'll be there. I'll be there.
Day one. Day one.
D1. Camping outside.
Camping outside. There will be people camping outside for that. I guarantee it.
There probably will be. I won't be one of them. But yeah, I'll go to Nintendo World. I mean, the Mushroom Kingdom, like all that stuff, like Hyrule.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo actually has better base. What's the word? Like base properties for a theme park than Disney does.
I think they could actually have their own theme park.
Oh yeah,
if they really
and if they could get Sega to go in cahoots with them, could you imagine going to like Sonic Land or
Yes,
whatever, or the Emerald Hill Zone in real life? I mean,
what if Sony and Nintendo did it?
They did that.
PlayStation.
They tried that once. They'll do the Nintendo PlayStation
like theme park.
Theme park.
they have a Streets of Rage one where you have to go in the back alley and fight your way through it. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, I don't know, but I was trying to think if they had an Xbox and what that would be. It'd be more like a like Halo laser tag.
That's what I was
or
gonna say. Halo would be everywhere.
Yeah, Halo laser tag.
Halo, or it's just Dance Connect. You just be dancing.
Yeah,
Dance Central.
They call it Connecto Land. I like it.
Turn on my TV.
but yeah, so the big thing that happened when I was at Disney is Square Enix had an anniversary sale.
Oh, yep. I heard about that.
And which it was. I texted you guys about this. I don't know if you actually looked at it or not.
It
was ridiculous. Like they had a lot of games for like $2.99, $3.99.
Yeah, that King. I just started playing it. That Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remix was I think like $3. I saw on your thing. So it's definitely worth $3.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I ordered some stuff from that, and the thing that made it hard is I think there's like too many people in the park or whatever because like the internet's really slow on your phone. And I was like,
people are buying games.
I'm being literal with this. I was riding the teacups with my kid, and I'm like buying Square Enix games on the teacups. And I'm like cussing at the phone because the internet's not any good.
This is when you have a problem, people. This is when you have a problem.
I'm like, just go through the cart. Why won't it let me check out?
Oh boy.
No, I was doing great. I was still doing fatherly stuff because my kid was spin the cup, and I'm like.
Well, sometimes you just have to have your release though too on stuff like that. Sensory overload for adults also.
Yeah, so, but no, like I said, we had a good time, and I've talked way too much about it already.
No, it's cool.
I've got a perfect puzzle for you.
All right, so we wanted to talk about our recent pickups over the last couple of weeks. Anybody want to go first?
I can start.
Yeah, go, Michael.
Yeah. I stopped by like a local video game store. Give them a little shout out. A Games over there in Independence.
A Games in the house. What up?
Yep. So they're real cool there. They'll always work with you on price. I kind of got a whole bunch of just actually boxing manuals only. Kind of some stuff that I needed. I got on N64, Silicon, or Space Station Silicon Valley. I'm sorry, it's kind of a long title there.
That's a crappy name.
It almost could have been in the old segment there. But I got that on N64. I got a bunch of NES boxes. Destiny, or Emperor's Destiny, or no, Destiny the Emperor. Sorry, I didn't have it before.
Genghis Khan too.
Yeah, Genghis Khan in there.
That's cool. To have.
Yeah, a whole bunch of games. I also picked up some loose, and a couple loose NES games. Mutant Virus.
Oh, that game has like A, the coolest name.
Yeah.
B, the coolest boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is really cool.
But then it's a turd of a game, though.
It is. It's a sticker.
It reminded me of this movie called Fantastic Voyage that's really old, where these like doctors get shrunk down. They go inside and kill the viruses.
It's like Inner Space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you kind of go and you just destroy these viruses in these different levels, and kind of like almost like a Ghostbuster, like blasting them away. And, yeah. So I got that. I picked up a couple of Wii games. Wreck-It Ralph. Just didn't have it. It was only like $3. So
yeah, I can't. Yeah.
But yeah, he hooked it up on those empty boxes and manuals were all $2 to $3 a piece. So I really couldn't pass that up for that kind of a deal.
Nice. Heck yeah.
I also went to a thrift store and actually kind of scored a little bit of a PlayStation 1 lot. I got all these were pretty much $2. Gex. The Crash Team Racing,
That's a really
Rayman, and the Namco Museum Mega Mix 3.
That's good.
Those Namco museums are good.
Yeah, so you get a whole bunch of games in there.
That's a good score because thrift stores I've been going to lately, nothing. I don't even
every time
see
I go
a video
to a thrift
game.
store, well, they'll have video games, but it's like
Madden,
PGA Golf.
Just Dance.
Madden, Just Dance. Just Dance if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. If it's like a higher print, higher one. Yeah.
Some of those other box games that I had were like Super Team games on NES, Skater Die 2.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hudson Hawk, which actually now I have the box, but I don't have the game. So
I have never actually seen the box for Hudson Hawk.
Yeah, I hadn't. I actually don't have the game at all. It was Destiny of the Emperor and Clax.
Oh, Clax is still that's very
I
like
actually
80s.
like Clax.
Yeah, a little Tengen game.
Clax is a fun game.
Mm-hmm. And then just a couple other things. I did pick up actually a complete in box multi-tap for the Super Nintendo.
Nice.
Yeah, the Hudson. Nice. So now I can play some 4-player Bomberman.
Oh, yeah.
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam.
Heck yeah.
And actually, I saw a Secret of Mana actually on the box that you can play 4 players.
What?
Really? Yeah.
I thought it was 3-player.
Or maybe it is 3-player.
Yeah,
okay.
Use a multi
I'm sorry.
either way,
3-player.
But still, that's cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So you gave me a really good deal. I got a sealed Sonic 2 on Game Gear.
Oh, heck yeah.
He had like $3 on it. So
wow.
I couldn't pass it up.
Well, the Game Gear market's not huge.
This is very true.
Very true. Yeah.
Even weirder.
It's like you and Benjamin.
Exactly. I know.
We had a listener, right? Yeah.
But it's Sonic 2.
Listeners.
It's one of my favorite games. I think a lot of people really like it. So. I think that's pretty much it there for my recent pickups.
What'd you pick up there, Adam?
Well, so I've kind of been trying to do the YouTube thing, and we've talked about that on recent episodes. So, you can find us on YouTube. Just search Video Game Dads will come up. And we need more followers on YouTube.
Yes.
So please
pump us up. Come on, people.
Well, what we do on
subscribe.
I basically want the YouTube thing to kind of be a supplement to the podcast.
Yeah.
So the main things of interest of the podcast are that I try to record, if I'm able to, at least with my current technology. I try to record the Video Game Book Club picks, so like at least a brief bit of me playing it, so that you can look at the video and then kind of figure out what it is that we're talking about or doing. Sometimes I record just video. Sometimes I record video with commentary. Sometimes I even put an ugly video of myself overlaid on the video. But like today, I recorded a couple things. I recorded Kickle Cubicle, and I recorded the first 2 worlds of Donkey Kong Country 2. And the reason I did that is because I got 2 new pieces of hardware, and I love new hardware. But I got the Super NT, and I also got the retro, so the analog Super NT and the retro USB AVS. So I have each of those. Both of those systems. So the Super NT is a Super Nintendo basically, and the retro USB AVS is an NES. Both of these are FPGAs, and I don't really fully understand it, but that stands for Field Programmable Something Array.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
but
I'll go with that.
Essentially, what these machines are is they have processors in them, and those processors can be programmed to behave in certain ways. And the people who designed those basically studied the Super Nintendo and the NES and sort of back engineered those systems and basically recreated them on a chip. So they're not true clone consoles in the sense that most things that you buy, like the Retron or similar consoles, they emulate. They download the ROM and then they software emulate the game. These don't emulate. They're actually playing through real hardware,
which is awesome.
That behaves and acts just like the original hardware. So that's cool for a couple of different reasons. The first being that there's no audio issues, there's no video issues. They just act like the old system did. And if you look at other emulators or play your cartridges on other clone consoles, you'll usually notice some kind of hit to one of those areas. And also there's no lag. So both these consoles have HDMI outputs and
which
and
is
output
awesome.
to HDMI.
That's cool.
And the reason I bought them is because I can record off of these things onto YouTube. So that's the primary reason that I bought them, or record them and video capture off of these a lot better. Plus, they both actually look really good on a 4K television.
They look good, handle well.
And they play exactly like the old consoles do. But there's a bunch of added things. You can put filters on them. You can change the way the image displays.
Cool
you can add scan lines. You can take the scan lines away. I mean, you can do all kinds of things, and they both look and play great. And I would recommend either one of those to any of our listeners. They're both a little bit expensive. They both run around, $190-ish or so dollars. So they're not so they're not cheap, but they're But if you're going to own old Nintendo games and you want to be able to continue to play them into the future, this is probably the best way to do so.
Yeah, that's the best way to play them.
And part of my reasoning for jumping on sort of as an early adopter is you never really know exactly how long these things are going to be produced or how many units are going to be produced.
Yeah.
Or how long they're going to be available. So I decided, I might as well go ahead and do it.
Yep.
The first system that was like this was the analog. The analog NT, and it was $500.
Yeah,
Still is
very
$500.
expensive. Yeah.
So these are considerably less than that. But I own enough. They're not for everybody, but I own enough Nintendo games that I can justify the cost to myself, just because
it makes perfect sense. Well, if you want to play the best way on a newer school TV, this is the best way to play it on original hardware.
Yeah, if somebody's a big audiophile, they're going to have an expensive stereo. If somebody really loves movies and has a big movie collection, they're going to have expensive audio video equipment for that. Yep. So that's somewhat of my justification. They're not tremendously expensive, but they are certainly more expensive than some of the regular clone consoles. Mm-hmm. And it may not make that much of a difference, to somebody. But like I have a Retron 5, right? And it's a clone console that does emulation. It just dumps the ROM from the cartridge. But like the NES slot on my Retron 5 is already jacked up. Doesn't work.
These are high quality builds.
Yeah, these aren't junk. These are better quality builds than that. So I got those, and I'm really happy about both of those. I did a limited run, and for those that don't know, they do small print runs of mostly digital released games on primarily the PlayStation platforms, although they're getting ready to move over and start doing Switch games as well. But once a year on New Year's they sell their overstock. So they sell the games. They may only make like 2,000 copies of a game. So they sell all those games. But then they always hold back about 10% or so for things like returns or if there's defects or whatever, so that they have things to exchange with people. So once a year, this stock that they hold back, they release it and they sell it. So I bought, I think 9 different, the quote unquote blind boxes. So you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that until I saw you sent that picture.
So I got all these blind boxes, but I was actually pretty happy with the haul that I had. I had all the games except one of them already. Mm-hmm. But the one that they sent me a Darius Burst Chronicles, which is an expensive, hard to come by game.
Yep.
And so I was really happy with that. And they're doubles, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but. Limited run games are pretty hard to come by, and they're hard to collect for, and people don't want to give them up. And the only way that they will give them up is if you can give them something that they don't have, and you get something that you don't have. Yep. So these are basically trade bait.
That's great trade bait.
For the future. Mm-hmm. So I was pretty happy to get those. I got the new Secret of Mana for PS4.
That's cool.
That people either seem to love or mostly hate.
Oh, really? I haven't heard anything about it.
It's been getting kind of crummy reviews. Huh. Well, it's a 3D. They took a 2D kind of classic game and made it 3D. And I don't know if the hate is really because the game's bad or the hate is just because everybody has rose-colored glasses for sprite-based 2D games from the past.
Yeah,
I think
it seems to happen.
I think it's probably at least some of the latter. You're going to have one of those people too, but I come from it from the standpoint of I've played Secret of Mana. I don't
sort of a different experience.
Well, I don't dislike the original Secret of Mana. I just don't think it's the end all be all greatest RPG ever made, like everybody talks about it. Yeah. It's a decent game, and it's a pretty good game. But people mention it in the same breath as they do like Super Metroid or Final Fantasy 3 or what. It's not as it's not that same tier of game. It's a good game, but it's a notch back from those.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to have it. I'll play it, at some point here. but I got that, and I basically got it for the same reason as you may not be able. It's only released. You only get it from GameStop, and I try really hard not to buy things from GameStop. But being that it's only one retailer, there may not be a big release of it. And I thought, well, I might as well get it because I may not be able to find it in the future.
Yeah. I wonder if that's a time release for them.
Yeah.
I wonder if it is.
I don't know. I don't know. And then I got Dragon Ball Fighters with the Z at the end. And I actually streamed a little bit of that the other day, and that game is super mega awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
that thing
like
looks
it looks so cool. And the thing is, like, you perform these like huge super moves with like just like the simple Street Fighter moves are like 35 hit combos. Like it's crazy. And I'm sure that, you know, if I was a real fighting game purist, I would be like, oh, this is a, you know, fighter for babies, you know, and that you didn't even have to do 15 button presses in the correct sequence to pull these things off. And I mean, I'm sure that there's a good argument for that, but as far as just like big stupid fun, like it's a really good stupid fun game.
Nice pick up and play, easy fighter to learn.
Yeah, it's an easy fighter to learn.
Yeah.
I guess we can go ahead and transition into what we've been playing as well. So I played some of that. I've been playing Donkey Kong Country 2, like I said, which I streamed some of. I actually rebought and downloaded Super Meat Boy for the Switch. Because I'm a doofus and I like owning games more than once. But have you guys ever played Super Meat Boy?
No, never have.
A game that will make you hate yourself.
Really?
It's so hard.
Time-based.
It's a 2D platformer, and it's kind of an indie game, but it has really good controls, and they're these little short levels, but they're ultra hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you basically just respawn. You die, and then you just try again. You just try again. And there are levels literally I'll die 100 times on. And then finally, you jump through all the saws, you do the impossible thing, and then you get to the end.
Very satisfying.
Yeah, but then it shows you a replay of all the deaths like happening at the same time.
You're like, oh man, you suck.
You know, and it's so much fun to watch all of your failures before you actually got to where you needed to go. So I love that game, and I'm playing back through it. Only this time I'm trying to get A+ on every level, which is super hard to do. So I've been doing those primarily, and then, you know, the other game I've been playing is Disney. So that's really Disney. I guess I played a little bit of our book club picks, but that's it.
I picked up, let me see, what did I get here? I ended up doing a trade with the guy. I had a Punisher that I got rid of that was a little bit rougher copy, but I ended up trading him that for Night Warriors on Sega Saturn, Granada 2 on Sega Dreamcast, Nights on Saturn, Christmas Nights, and Wiz and Liz. So did a little trade there. And then I went to V-Stock on my way to get my next thing, and I got, they had a buy two, get one, and I had some extra time to burn because the people said that they're running late. So I got 3 boxed Nintendo 64 games. None of them really great, but they're boxed, so it was cool to see. And they're cheap, so they're $10 a piece at buy two, get one free. So I got Hot Wheels, California Speed, and Milo's Astro Lanes, which I was excited to get that one actually in box. It's sort of cool. And then my great haul, I'm really excited about this one, is I got a Atari kiosk. So it's a Imagine countertop kiosk, so it holds like 24 slots for Atari games to go in.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it
holds almost 1/100th of a megabyte of data.
So this thing has got just slots where you could put the games in, but mine's really rough and it's missing the plastic piece that goes over the front. But essentially, you just turn on your Atari and you can press a button on there. There's 3 select buttons, and you can scan through which game you want, and they're already preloaded, ready to go. And you can look at what you have placed in there, and you could play. So it looks really awesome. So I'm going to end up putting that with the Commodore monitor that I have inside a Atari cabinet that I'm getting, and I think it's going to be just I'm really excited about it to fix this thing up and sort of show it off. And I'm going to try to put pictures up on Facebook for you guys, and sort of
awesome.
So, but that's really all I've gotten here recently. I've been trying to just work trades, but that's the only ones I could really think of right now. So,
all right, you've been able to play anything in the last couple of weeks?
Nope. Life is too busy. Me and my daughter do play ARMS every once in a while. Sure. Just real basic stuff, but we don't really I don't get really a chance to. Sure. It's collect a little bit and go to bed.
Yeah.
Take care of kids.
I kind of forgot to talk about what I've been playing, but one of them is going to be, I'll talk about it in a little bit in the handheld holler, but another game is I had never played any of the Kingdom Hearts games, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have a PlayStation 2, So I never played any of them. So I just started playing the 1.5 remix on PlayStation 3, and I've actually like really enjoyed it. There's a few things I don't like. The camera angles are kind of goofy.
The camera angle is what gets me.
That is really annoying. Trying to switch around all the time, and like it's kind of the platforming's kind of goofy on it too, a little bit, jumping up onto objects.
Yeah.
But other than that, like the story and everything, I've been really enjoying. So.
Yeah, supposedly they're making Kingdom Hearts 3 right now. I mean, after they get done with
After 2.8.2, 8.5, 8.22, blah, blah, blah.
I'll tell you, that is very confusing.
That's why I gave up on that. I gave up on them.
I can't even keep up with what they've been doing on it.
When I decided, it's such a popular game, but even when I bought that 1.5 remix, it's like 3 separate games, and I was like, man, which one do I even play? And
is that the special edition, too? Because there's a special edition for that, too.
I don't know. Mine has like an art book inside of it.
Okay, that's the one.
Yeah, mine has like drawings inside of it.
There's different variations of that.
Exactly.
I'm so confused on that. I gave up even paying attention.
It has really gotten confusing. It's weird because they made like Kingdom Hearts and then like Kingdom Hearts 2 and then there's like Kingdom Hearts 365.
Yeah,
65 days.
Yeah, that's on my new one, the remastered. I didn't play that one. I just played like the final edition or something of Kingdom Hearts. That's what I played.
Then there's 1.5, 1.5 remix, and there's like 2.5.
What? Disney's milking you for money? What?
Yeah, it's like what is going on, people? Like just
you got a popular video game?
Normal integers, just integers.
Yes, man.
And then you get
no decimals.
And then Adam just got the 1.5 and 2.5 on PS4. I saw.
Yeah, on that
one disc.
So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it'll.
I'm confused right now.
I'll open up the disc and just be like, I don't know what to do. I'm so confused. Well, but even Final Fantasy's gotten that way because Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 10 2, and then they have Final Fantasy 12, and then there's like
I seen that from Final Fantasy when they first came out.
And then there's like Lightning Returns, and then there's like the zeros, and it's really confusing. Actually, I don't know why they would make things confusing for their customers, but they certainly have.
It must be working for them, I guess.
Well, and if you look at any Final Fantasy post Final Fantasy, 10 and later, all the characters are all kind of look the same. They all have the spiky anime hair, and it's you can't even from an outside perspective tell who's who and what's what, and at least with like Final Fantasy 7, like Cloud's very recognizable. The other characters are very recognizable, but the new ones don't seem to be as much. I mean, a little bit more generic.
Yeah, I want to always keep playing that night. I see like my wife kind of goes to bed like at 10 o'clock, and that's kind of when my gaming time starts, and I only have probably about an hour to an hour and a half. But I started like playing that Kingdom Hearts game, and man, I kind of just got through the intro, kind of learning everything, and it kind of makes you want to play. Yeah, it drew me in and made me want to play for hours.
We wanted to talk about
our handheld holla.
All right, so I've got my first handheld holla, and this is a 3DS game. And it's a Sega 3D Classics Collection.
Ooh,
so this came out actually not that long ago, and these are all old Sega games, but remade to take advantage of the 3D-ness of the 3DS.
Yeah.
So it includes Power Drift, which was. It was. I remember seeing it in the arcade.
Were some of these sort of like Sega Master games too, or are these just like Sega games?
They're just Sega games.
They're just Sega games. Okay.
I'm not sure if Power Drift ever actually got released for a home console.
Okay.
But Puyo Puyo 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Which everybody kind of knows that, even if they don't know that they know that.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one. The first one that's not as good as the others.
Yeah. For sure.
Which the thing is, it's always throws me for a loop when I go back and play Sonic 1 because it's like you made this guy who's like super fast, and now you want me to do delicate precision platforming.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Yeah.
Just decide what kind of game you want to make. So it's got Fantasy Zone 2.
That's a good one.
On it, yeah, which is a good game. Altered Beast.
Yeah.
Sega classic. And I'm not a big Altered Beast fan. I know a lot of people love it, but Rise from the
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I always thought it was kind of clumsy, but Galaxy Force 2.
Nice. Shooter.
Thunderblade.
Okay,
yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, which is a good one.
I have that on.
And then
what else is on there?
I haven't played this one. Maze Walker, I guess it is.
I don't know that one.
Logo.
Yeah.
So I haven't played that one. I'm not sure if I have to unlock it by doing something or something.
You might have to. Yeah.
But at any rate,
nice compilation.
Yeah, it's a nice little
yeah.
compilation disc. I think you can still get this thing for like $15 or something.
Yeah, not bad.
Nice. Which is, so it's a good pickup just because it's old arcadey goodness. It's Sega stuff, Sega classics.
Yeah.
Even if you don't really enjoy them all that much, at least it teaches you, some of the
appreciate some respect to us.
Kind of,
where we came from.
Yeah. But the games actually are pretty good. At least to me.
And Sega needs the money. So
yeah, and Sega needs the
support
money.
Sega. They're holding their cup out. Give me some change.
Yeah, please help Sega. Or maybe at this point we're just enabling Sega.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, Sega's like,
we're buying statues.
I'm going to give you this money, Sega, but I know what you're going to do with it. You're going to make another crappy Sonic game.
Yeah, it's in the wings, aren't you?
Sega's, not to go too much off on that tangent, but it's so weird, Sega, because it's like they used to make like the best games, and now it's
they're a shell in themselves.
Well, but like Sonic Mania is the best Sonic game that's been released in how long?
Yeah,
and it wasn't made by Sega. Yeah. It was made by like
a fan, pretty much.
Yeah, it's basically a fan game, and it's better than
the crap that they're putting out.
Well,
yes.
the thing is, it came out, and then Sonic Forces came out.
That was a bad idea.
Well, and Sonic Forces, I don't think is necessarily a horrible game or anything, but it's
not good.
Truth be told, I haven't played it, but it certainly doesn't look nearly as good as Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
I just look at it and it doesn't look that good. It doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look that good. And from what I've heard, it's not that good. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
it certainly
didn't get good reviews, but it just, I don't know. It just amazes me. Like, I'm sure at Disney they have like this room of Imagineers, who just like come up with ideas. And then they go through all these people who are like, yeah, that's still a good idea. Or, no, that's a bad idea. Go back and imagine some more.
Yeah.
And Sega doesn't seem to have this, like, hey, I see what you want to do, but, like, go back and just think about that for a little while.
Yeah. Can we actually capitalize on that?
Sega, I want you to think about what you just said and then come back with something better.
Right.
Like, Sega just doesn't seem to have that right now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, sorry, not too much Sega hate. Michael, what's yours?
The game I've been playing, it's on the Game Boy Advance. It's Gunstar Superheroes.
That's a good game.
Yeah, no, it is really good game. Great graphics. Probably some of the best graphics I've seen on I've been playing on my Game Boy Advance SP. So, and it looks great. It plays similar, if you don't know, there's a Genesis game, Gunstar Heroes, and it plays, really similar to as far as the graphics and like the controls. It's fun.
Yeah.
Great boss battles.
Yeah.
Well, it's a treasure game, man. If it's got a treasure logo on it, it's good. I'm just going to piggyback on yours real fast.
Yeah.
There was an ad on Marketplace Summit. I think I sent it to you guys. I think it was too far out of town probably for anybody to go get it. But Sin and Punishment Star Successor. It's a Wii game. It's a treasure game. Super good game. It's like a top 10 game on the Wii.
Oh, okay.
And before you say there's no good games on the Wii, there are a lot of good games on the Wii. It has a huge library.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best. It is a really good. It's like an on-rails shooter kind of game.
Yeah.
I watched lots of
videos. The only other one I have is that is it the Mick Kids? Is that made by Treasure?
I'm not sure if that was made by Treasure or not.
It's either that or the Sega Genesis one.
Yeah,
actually, I think you know what? I think I'm getting it confused with the Sega Genesis version. That one is made by Treasure for sure.
Yeah. I think you're right. I always think of them as mission makers for N64.
But, okay. Yep.
And then Gunstar Heroes.
Yeah.
Shane, what's yours?
Mine's really basic. Played a little bit of New Super Mario Brothers 2. Just fun Mario Brothers game. I just like it because it's sort of quirky. It doesn't take itself, not that Mario takes itself serious, but like the coins on top of his head, and it's just a real collectathon of coins and just, I don't know, different little power-ups and stuff. I really liked it. I don't know. It's a Mario game. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's not hard, too.
Yeah, it's not hard. Yeah, it's a fun little game.
All right, so I think that's more or less going to wrap up this episode. So again, we would like you guys, if you can, to come visit us on Facebook.
Yep, facebook.com/videogamedads.
Email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com, or find us on the Twitters and Instagram
at videogamedads.
And also check out our YouTube channel. And I forget to mention this on most episodes, but if like on the Apple podcast app or Stitcher or Google Play or Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts from, if you would leave us a good review, like a positive review, 5-star or whatever, that actually really helps out the podcast and helps us get noticed. So if you want to show any appreciation or that kind of thing, we don't ask for money or Patreon or anything like that, and we do this. We're just amateurs and we're just some guys.
Yep.
But we do this because we like doing it and we like sharing with you guys and hearing from you guys. And,
that just really goes a long way.
And that sort of thing.
But
that goes a long way to helping us out. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, we would very much appreciate the favor.
And we also have T-shirts in. So if you want to get a T-shirt, we have small to extra large right now. So in gray and black, we have the photo up on Facebook. So you could send us an email or you could contact us on Facebook too. So if you would wanted a shirt,
they're the high quality ones too. Not
yes,
like
very comfortable. Everyone that has bought one or we have given to, they have loved it. They wear it a lot.
Every time I put mine on, I have to also write on the back, "Sorry, ladies, I'm taken."
Yeah,
yeah. It'll basically turn you into. Doesn't matter what you look like, you'll be irresistible.
Yeah. It says cotton, but feels like cashmere.
Yeah, I mean, Bithead said. I mean, he's just stiff arming girls out of the way right now.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just having trouble.
It won't make you as masculine as a Bithead 1000 T-shirt, which are also available.
Yeah, also available.
But if you go, just watch Bithead.
You'll figure it out then.
What we're talking about. But in any respect, thanks for all the love, guys.
Yes.
Contact us, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.